Thousands of Nigerians have taken to the streets to demand an end to a notorious police unit accused of brutality. Demonstrators even blocked major roads in the economic hub Lagos, bringing the city of 20 million people to a virtual standstill. The movement that spread on social media began when a video of a man being allegedly killed by police went viral. The government announced the disbanding of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, known as SARS, but this hasn't stopped the mushrooming protest movement.
We don't believe anything that comes out from the Nigerian government. We said what we said. Because why? In the last 4 years, go check. You're going to see that they told us that, we hand SARS today on Twitter.
In October 2016 they did.
We hand SARS today on Twitter, but they never did on the street.
SARS has been accused of unlawful arrests, torture and extrajudicial killings. Protesters have vowed that they will keep up the pressure after previous pledges to disband the unit and punish officers came to nothing. But the movement, nicknamed End SARS, has turned into general opposition against the government and a rallying cry for justice, especially among young people, some of whom have occupied the area around Lagos's key Lekki tollgate.
I am proud of our generation. I am proud of this generation. And I can also say to you that this government messed with the wrong generation. Yes.
We are the wrong generation.
It is legal to demand our rights as long as it is peaceful. And here we are protesting peacefully.
People in Guinea head to the polls on Sunday in an election that sees 82-year-old President Alpha Condé bidding for a controversial third term in office. In March, Condé pushed through a revamped constitution that he said would modernise the country, but which also allowed him to bypass the two-term presidential limit. Deadly protests have marked opposition against Condé's possible third term since October 2019. Violent repression of the demonstrations has left at least 50 people dead in the last year, according to rights group Amnesty International. In Wanindara, an opposition stronghold in the capital Conakry, it's hard to find Condé supporters. Many here will vote for his rival, main opposition leader Cellou Dalein Diallo.
Young people don't like the president. Besides, in reality, he has never won elections in Guinea. He imposes his strength on us. Because he has the army behind him, the judiciary, the electoral commission, it is a clan that imposes its system on the people of Guinea. He has never won an election.
When the security forces come here to Wanindara, they come with guns and knives. They come to the neighborhood, knock over pots, loot, they beat. They hurt, they kill.
A former opposition activist, Alpha Condé won the election in 2010 in the first free vote after half a century of authoritarian rule. He won re-election 5 years later, but during his tenure, rights groups have become increasingly critical of his policies. His supporters insist he has the solutions to Guinea's problems.
If we are here today, it is simply to prove to Alpha Condé that he is someone who, above all, advocates peace in our country, and also someone who wants progress in our country and also seeks to integrate youth in the development process.
Meanwhile, a massive prestige project, a hydroelectric dam, is almost ready to generate electricity, a key shortage in the country. Its direct benefit to households, however, is less certain.
The Suapiti Dam in Guinea is one of the largest hydroelectric reservoirs in West Africa. It is on the brink of starting electricity production. The flagship project of President Alpha Condé's second term in office, its 2,000 gigawatt hours of electricity a year, will double the nation's capacity.
Behind this wall today, we have around 4 billion cubic metres of water, but the maximum is 6,370,000,000 cubic metres. That's the reservoir's capacity. It's this body of water that's going to allow us to generate electricity.
The idea of building this dam, here on the Concoria River, dates back to colonial times. Construction only began in 2015, but has almost wrapped up. Operations will start on the 30th of November. A $1.2 billion loan from China's state-owned China International Water and Electric Corporation helped pay for the project. But no one knows how the electricity will be allocated. Some will be exported to neighbouring countries to help pay off the loan. People in the town of Botha, 130 kilometres away, have long been unhappy with poor electricity provision and are running out of patience.
It's hot. Look, here, there's no ice. Really, every day the state makes promises about electricity. They say we're going to improve your quality of life. There are lots of companies, but nothing works. Even yesterday, there were protests.
Groups of young demonstrators often target the installations of the national electricity provider. For the past 3 years, its generators have been supplying power for very limited periods.
Every day we turn it on at 7 p.m. and turn it off at 1 in the morning. But the message is people have to accept paying for electricity.
Ordinary people feel that the electricity allocation is unfair. Too little for them, while industries get priority. In the dark, local resident Sapierre watches a nearby bauxite mine lit up day and night. No power cuts there.
If you look over there, you'll see that row of lights there behind the trees is on the whole time. The electricity runs 24 hours a day. It's never off. The reason is simple. There's bauxite mining going on over there. But you wouldn't know that here. There's nothing for the people.
President Condé won a second term in power in 2015, partly on the back of promises to improve power supply in the country's interior. 5 years later, Sapierre waits. The lights come on at 9:30 p.m.
Finally, as Ivory Coast prepares for its presidential polls on the 31st of October, two main opposition leaders have called on their supporters to boycott the electoral process.
This electoral process is illegal because it doesn't meet any international criteria, and both our supporters and all Ivorian voters must refrain from participating in both the distribution of electoral cards and the electoral campaign.
Former Prime Minister Pascal Affi N'Guessan and former President Henri Konan Bédié did not say whether they would pull out of the actual vote. President Alassane Ouattara himself is also seeking a third term, stepping in as candidate after his crowned successor, Prime Minister Amadou Kon Coulibaly, died in July. Ouattara's decision has raised fears of renewed violence, as happened in 2010, when his predecessor Laurent Gbagbo rejected results that handed Ouattara victory. The Constitutional Council has disqualified a further 40 would-be candidates, including Gbagbo and former rebel leader Guillaume Soro, both of whom played key roles in the crisis that engulfed the country in 2010. In total, there are 4 candidates in the running: Ouattara, the 2 opposition candidates, and former parliamentarian Kouadio Konan Bertin.